Well, here it is. Happy Columbus Day. Let me say that again. Happy Columbus Day, not Indigenous Peoples Day. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. California, a couple other states, Vermont, Indigenous people. By the way, I guess that's all for Elizabeth Warren, the 332nd of a Native American. Who knows? That's why Vermont. I have no idea. Happy Columbus Day, where Italian Americans celebrate the heritage. And the tone-deaf irony presenting Kamala Harris, proving yet again she doesn't actually understand a thing, or maybe doesn't give a spit about what she actually has done to this country. Listen.
It is an honor, of course, to be with you this week as we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, as we speak truth about our nation's history. Since 1934, every October, the United States has recognized the voyage of the European explorers who first landed on the shores of the Americas. But that is not the whole story. That has never been the whole story. Those explorers ushered in a wave of devastation for tribal nations, perpetrating violence, stealing land, and spreading disease. We must not shy away from this shameful past, and we must shed light on it and do everything we can to address the impact of the past on Native communities today.
Well, there she is, tone-deaf Kamala, right? Same woman, the very same woman who says, let all illegals come across the border. It's absolutely incredible, and also wants to allow transgender surgeries for children without parents' consultation. Absolutely insane, tone deaf. And by the way, one more thing. Do you think this Happy Indigenous Peoples Day is going to help her with swing voters in swing states? I mean, I don't know. Certainly defending Hamas and Hezbollah isn't helping her in Michigan, and so she's upside down, looking upside down across the board. Anyway, have no idea what that was all about. Happy Columbus Day, folks. And then this happened on Saturday. So we're waiting for Trump's rally in Coachella, California. Noteworthy, California. So he does the rally, and later on that night, late night, after this whole thing, he was off the stage. Tens of thousands of people showed up. And then there's this thing that it may have been a third attempt to assassinate Trump. So there's a guy named Vem Miller, who actually ran for Congress as a Republican. He's a registered Republican, claims to be pro-Trump. So the cops in Coachella stopped him because he had a fake license plate, a homemade license plate on his vehicle. He had fake credentials trying to get to Trump, but he also had loaded firearms in his trunk. I mean, okay, you say you're pro-Trump and you say you're MAGA, but do you really show up to one of these events with loaded firearms in your car and then a fake license plate? So there are people who are defending Vem Miller. There's this woman named Mindy Robinson, who I know personally. She's very ultra right-wing, pro-MAGA. I've seen her at Trump. Maybe you've seen her at Mar-a-Lago, but says Vem Miller is a friend of hers. He wasn't trying to assassinate Trump. Here's Vem Miller. This whole thing is just weird. Here's Vem Miller in his own words.
And probably the reason that God put me in that situation, in order to be able to expose really what's going on. And so every time I've gone to a Nevada rally and notified the police, it's been a non-issue. They've thanked me for the courtesy of notifying them. They've said, obviously, you can't take your firearms. I wouldn't even think of doing such a stupid thing. And they've been fine. And the critical mistake I made is, I guess, forgetting the location that I was in California. So I drive up with my special entry pass. And by the way, they're saying I had a counterfeit pass. That's a bunch of nonsense. I could prove that I had a special entry pass directed to me, sent directly to me by officials within the Republican Party of Nevada. I was an actual invitee.
Nevada, California. You're rolled up with some loaded firearms in the car. Vem, trying to believe you, brother, but this story is just not making sense, so we'll let you figure it out, folks. All right, that's it. All right, so not so much joy in Kamala La La Land anymore, discord between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But how can it be? It doesn't make any sense, does it? How could the Biden and Harris camps suddenly not be getting along? And wow, I wonder if anything from her past, anything that she did in her past, I don't know, indicate that this moment was brewing. Oh, yeah, actually, maybe it was this.
It was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country.
Okay, so during the debate when they were both running to be the Democrat nominee in 2020, she called him racist. I'm sure he never forgot that, but it's bubbling up right now, folks, because yes, that's right. Just to jog our collective memories, Kamala called Joe the racist, and the leftist machine loved it and said she was a new star. A star was born, this new Kamala Harris. I mean, how can Joe now, who was forced to bring in Kamala as his vice president in a dirty, swampy deal with Obama and his vast network of progressive far leftists, how could Joe be at all bothered by the fact that Cammie was then slid into his own presidential slot just as the election was winding down to a Trump win over Joe Biden? We saw what you did there, Obama and the Dems. We know it. But for a beat, it actually looked like they were playing nice, right? Joe came over and gave Kamala this low-profile border czar job because it was easy and she couldn't get into too much trouble with it. So he thought, even though her lack of any tangible, useful, or relevant experience probably guaranteed her failure. Coincidence? No coincidence in politics, folks. Sorry. And it was also a good way to keep Kamala busy and out of the spotlight, as far away from Joe and the racist Joe as possible. Her term, by the way, racist. Keep her far away from the Oval Office as possible. That was smart on the Biden advisors. But what happened? Every single little thing that Kamala was put up for, she actually failed miserably at. Border czar, effed it up. Foreign attaché, effed it up again. Afghanistan, tragic, deadly disaster of a military failure. Yes, Kamala effed it up. And she's repeatedly claimed, by the way, to be instrumental in that decision-making process, even telling folks she was the last person in the room that fateful day. I wouldn't change a thing, right, Cam? How many times has she said that? Make no mistake about it, Joe's more recent public appearances are no coincidence. I mean, for a second here, hold on for a second. Remember, one of her big, major speeches in Pennsylvania, Joe came to the briefing room simultaneously and completely undermined it. I mean, are we not seeing a little bit of Joe undermining Kamala? No confidence. Well, he's not been supportive at all of Kamala. In fact, if I weren't such a skeptic, I'd say he was undermining Kamala. But this one is particularly Biden-esque.
And I know from experience how devastating it is to lose your home. Several years ago, my home was struck by lightning. It didn't all burn down, but we were out of the home for 7 months while it was being repaired.
Well, hey, listen, I know it sucks to lose your house and everything, North Carolina, but, I once lost some pictures in my living room. Oh, and how about his exaggerated version of what really happened when one of his many houses got hit by lightning. Wait again. Where am I again? And still, it's not worse than moments like this when every single Kamala Harris handler groans collectively.
So when we think about what's at stake in this election, whoa, it's packed with some stuff. It's packed with some fundamental stuff. I say rather articulately.
What's at stake in this election? I mean, people can't afford their groceries. Fuel prices are double. The border is a mess. We have Venezuelan gangs taking over apartments in our major cities. And she says this election is packed with some stuff. Does she have anything up here at all? Do I even need to follow that one up? Which is why they have nothing left. Kamala Harris can't come back from this past horrendous week that she had, and they know it. So what do they have anyway? Well, it's pretty ironic. This is all the left has in the Democrat bag of pathetic tricks.
People are going to vote on. Just to be very clear, he hasn't released all of his medical records. He released 2 letters. Should he release the results of the cognitive test?
It's unnecessary. He's on display every minute.
So it's unnecessary. You concede that he didn't release his medical records. You don't want to know things like his cholesterol level, whether he's dealing with any issue that we may not know about, if he's going to be commander-in-chief. And he also said he would release cognitive tests.
Listen to your question.
Should he release that?
The American people... Kristen, the American people don't care about the cholesterol level of Donald Trump. They care about the cost of living and the fact they cannot pay for groceries because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's policies have put them in that situation.
So that's the woman, Kirsten Welker, who runs NBC's big Sunday political show. And she says, oh, my gosh, Kamala released her records. Where's Trump's cholesterol? She's worried about Trump's cholesterol. So let me get this straight. We still haven't seen the cognitive tests of the president, the seated president of the United States, that would likely indicate which of many conditions Joe Biden is clearly suffering from. Again, the current president. No one asked about that. One which Kamala Harris helped to cover up, by the way, pure treason, of course. And now state-run TV wants us all to worry about President Trump's cholesterol levels? Well, it's clear where the media got its marching orders, because this is literally all she seems to have left.
He's not being transparent with the voters. He's not being transparent. So check this out. He refuses to release his medical records. I've done it. Every other presidential candidate in modern era has done it.
And just so I have the bottom of the Democrat desperation barrel, assassination attempts, 2, maybe 3, medical records, and deny blatant democracy-killing policies created by Joe and Kamala at every possible turn. Did I miss anything, Alejandro Mayorkas?
The notion that we in law enforcement have sought to intentionally allow individuals to cross the border illegally for the purpose of voting is preposterous, and everyone should condemn that rhetoric.
Is it preposterous? Preposterous, says Mayorkas. We let them cross the border with the intention of voting. Okay, so what about this? Why does Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, a swing state, by the way, why are they suing both Virginia, the campaign is suing Virginia and Youngkin suing back, because they say that they want illegals not to be removed from Virginia's voting rolls. Can you imagine this? Don't remove illegals who are not allowed to vote in this country. Don't remove them from Virginia's voting rolls, a swing state that could possibly dictate the next president. Don't remove illegals. And that not only don't do it, Biden and Kamala Harris say to Glenn Youngkin in Virginia, not only they say don't do it, we'll sue you if you try to. I mean, if that doesn't tell you everything right there, that they need illegals to vote in order to beat Trump. There it is right there in one state. It's desperation time. That's why Kamala Harris is walking around saying things like, everything's perfect with the Biden presidency. I wouldn't change a thing. One Joe says she was very involved in, by the way, and also says it's time to turn the page.
It is time to turn the page. To turn the page, because America is ready to chart a new way forward, ready for a new and optimistic generation of leadership.
Turn the page. Kamala Harris has literally been in the White House for 4 years. And by the way, when she and Joe got in, they had the House, they had the Senate, and they had the White House. They had everything they needed. So you look back and go, turn the page from Joe when you guys had it all. You had the trifecta. She really thinks Americans are that stupid. Or how about this? How about outright lying?
And here's the thing. It makes you wonder. Why does his staff want him to hide away? One must question, are they afraid that people will see that he is too weak and unstable to lead
Hidden? Kamala's saying he's hidden? Good Lord, the guy's everywhere. He's on every platform he can possibly do interviews everywhere, podcasts, Fox News, who he then calls out and says they're horrible. He goes everywhere, hidden. What on earth is she talking about? When literally, as she was saying those words, Trump took the stage at an Arizona rally after another rally in Coachella, California, just hours before. And not to mention, Kamala has yet to do a press conference in like 60 days. I think she did one after she was slid into that position. One, when Trump has done more than we can count in the past 4 years. She's not even good at gaslighting Americans. Is she good at anything at all? You don't have to answer that one. That one is what we call a rhetorical question. Even state-run TV can't cover for Kamala anymore, but that doesn't mean they're not still trying to, and that is the number one indicator of the leftist machine and their push for that single-party state that they want. They want that uniparty where liberals and rhinos work together against conservatives. They're complete and utter control of the entire mainstream media. The lawfare against President Trump, assassination attempts, plural, slandering Trump as a fascist and Hitler. And his high cholesterol, for God's sakes, his high cholesterol. What's next? His hand size? Oh, wait a minute. That was 2016. This is the new normal in a world created by the left, the liberal party of anti-democracy, the party of zero tolerance, the party of violence. This is the new normal they've created, period. And they're not even hiding it.
That he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. He has called for the, quote, termination. Wait, hold on, because here's the thing. Let's let the courts handle that, and let's handle November. We'll handle November. How about that?
No, so how are you going to handle November, Kamala? Are you going to handle... I bet you will handle November, Kamala. You will try, won't you? But, sorry, this isn't democracy. This is war, folks. Political warfare. Before you go crazy, political warfare. A war of words, sound bites, and tweets. If you think it's getting nasty now, get ready, folks. The last 22 days in front of us are going to be a sight to be seen. Take a deep breath, get locked and loaded for some wild, wild media coverage. All right, so one of the greatest, okay, so J.D. Vance was picked. Everyone said he was the wrong pick because the left went crazy, said he said things about single cat women, and it was going to ruin Trump's chances with women, who he needs. I think he needs at least 45 to 48% with women to win the election. So they're like, Vance was a bad choice. Then Vance crushed Tim Walz on the debate stage. And then he found his footing. Vance is he's hot right now. Watch this interaction. Now, mind you, Martha Raddatz, ABC News, been there forever, and he catches something that she says that highlights exactly what the left is thinking, and they don't expect you to catch it the way he did. He had the composure to just rip into her. Listen.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border? Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs.
Only a handful, Martha Raddatz says, only a handful of apartment complexes in Colorado, in America, are being taken over by violent, illegal Venezuelan gangs. Only a handful. And then she goes on to say something like, well, it's not the whole city. Okay, Martha, are you really, really saying that? Is this what it's come down to? Only a few? Which ones are good and which ones aren't? How about your apartment complex, Martha, or your home or your neighborhood? Be okay for your gated community to get taken over by the Venezuelan gangs? That'd be okay or no? I mean, he's right. Do you hear yourself? Hey, left-wing media, do you hear yourself? Speaking of that, listen to this lunatic, absolute lunatic of a U.S. representative. Listen.
He said that we've got these cities and these towns that are being overrun by gangs and the crime out of control. I absolutely agree with that. And guess what? It's the MAGA gang. It is the white supremacists that have decided to descend upon places such as Springfield, Ohio. So I agree with him. I just disagree with who the problems are. The problems are him and his minions. The problems aren't the people that have come to make our economy stronger.
So Congresswoman Crockett says the problem aren't the Venezuelan Agua del Tren or Tren del Aragua gangs that we saw the video of them just beating down apartment doors. So that's not the problem, or the people killing, or the people fighting, or the people eating or not eating pets in Ohio. But those illegals that are coming here creating so much crime that we see on the streets, people being punched, elderly women being punched in the face in New York City by someone walking by, the fighting with the cops in Times Square. So those gangs aren't the problem to this Congresswoman Crockett. MAGA is the problem. MAGA, white supremacist MAGA gangs. I'm sorry, Madam Congresswoman, just give me an example of it. Show me. I haven't seen it. I see nothing. I see none of that. This accusation that Trump or MAGA has violent gangs or white supremacist gangs, get the hell out of here. What is wrong with you? You absolute race card playing hack of a politician. You should be sent back to wherever you came from, because that's bullshit. You know better. I have no idea why the MSNBC host didn't push back on that. It's just insane. It's just absolutely insane. Speaking, and let's just stay in the liberal media world, shall we? When James Carville, if you don't remember James Carville was the Bill Clinton. He made Bill Clinton president. He was the one who came up with the slogan, "It's the economy, stupid." And that was really what had people digging into Bill Clinton at the time. James Carville is known as a political, he's like the Karl Rove on the right, okay? So he's older, but he hasn't. But listen to Jen Psaki, who was a senior advisor to Barack Obama, who now is some sort of liberal talk show host, interviewing James Carville. And I'm not sure these are metaphors you want to use, especially at this late stage of the game. Listen.
When I said that, I didn't know that he was going to schedule a rally at Madison Square Garden to mimic the Nazi rally of 10 February 1939. So we have They're telling you. And by the way, if they win, they're going to correctly say, we told you in the election what we were going to do, and you voted for us. You have green-lighted the whole thing. And if we don't tell people about that, if these young black men, how do you think they're going to do? If you're a young black male and Trump-inspired army roundup of people, how well do you think you're going to do in that?
Nazi. He went there. He called the Trump rally a Nazi rally, Carville. Did you really do that? You seem to be losing it. I think these people on the left, when they realize it, there's only 22 days left and Kamala Harris is tanking in support, they're calling out everything. Nazis, where's his cholesterol number? It's crazy. Here's a funny one. Bill Clinton walks into a fast food restaurant, and God bless her, the clerk turns and says, "Oh my God!" She comes around and notice that who she thinks Bill Clinton is. She thinks he's Joe Biden. Watch. I mean, honest mistake. They kind of look alike now. Boy, wow, they're not aging well, neither one of those folks. All right, last week we told you about this really weird video with an influencer on her knees looking like she's accepting Holy Communion from Gretchen Whitmer, governor of Michigan. And it's a Doritos potato, it's a Doritos chip. Now, mind you, on Friday I thought it was a Doritos chip because that was what Kamala Harris said she eats on the campaign trail nonstop. So it was almost like this weird religious thing. I'm eating a piece of Kamala Harris or whatever. It was weird. Just take a look at a little bit of that if we do have it. Do we have that?
Love you, all I do. Need you, no matter what I do.
Well, we caught it, and a lot of people also caught it. I believe the Catholic Church caught it and gave a whole heck of a mouthful to Gretchen Whitmer, and then she tweeted this apology saying, over 25 years in public service, I would never do something to denigrate someone's faith. I've used my platform to stand up for people's right to hold and practice their personal religious beliefs. So I will go ahead and say this is bullshit. This is another liberal lying, because they were doing something else. They were doing this homage to Kamala Harris with this, again, she eats nonstop. She's known to eat Doritos, and they were doing it. And they said some sort of, like, oh, we were thanking Biden for the CHIPS Act, which is, Silicon Valley. It was all bullshit. And she got caught, and they got nailed. And, of course, they lied to get out of it. And then there was this. This is a good one. Meanwhile, the left is still trying to figure out a way to get Kamala Harris pumped up very quickly before the truth bomb ends. Watch this weird ad put out by someone tied to the Harris campaign.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
And I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to grill a steak.
Rare.
Man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Meat. Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like.
Jelly donuts. Maple glaze.
Cream-filled. The more cream, the better.
Pink with sprinkles.
I mean, who messes that up? Just order a crawler, get a coffee, and walk away.
And I'll tell you another thing. I'm man enough to support.
Yeah, come on out of that. Enough of that. That goes on and on. I'm a man. An ad for Kamala Harris to show some sort of weird masculinity thing, because I think they realize they're getting smoked with men, and they're getting really hurt with African-American men right now. And that's when we saw Barack Obama try and save the day for them. Truth bomb here, folks. They're struggling, and they suck at social media. All right, before we go, a little more fun with Kamala Harris by SNL at the expense of Harris Watch.
Oh, man, that felt good. And Donald doesn't think I'm black. Okay, listen up, everyone. We couldn't have gotten here without one man, and his name is Joe Biden. Get on out here, Joe Biden.
So Maya Rudolph doing a great Kamala Harris, and that's Joe Biden, as she said, Joe Biden, because she uses her Jamaican accent when she wants to, and that's Dana Carvey doing a great Joe Biden. Good news is, folks, we can watch SNL again because these two are easy to parody. Trump's easy to parody for sure, but these two are easy to parody as well. All right, that's it. Monday, we're in the books. Tomorrow, we'll be back. Remember, subscribe. Make sure you hit your subscribe button, whether it's YouTube or Rumble or one of the various platforms that if you're listening on podcasts. Appreciate your time. Want you to subscribe. Always, again, you can always call us and tell us what you like. It toll-free number, again, 888-601-0032, 888-601-0032. We'll bring back some voicemails. Tomorrow, there are a bunch over the weekend I listened to, some great ones. We just got a little long in the tooth today. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day, folks. Bolling out.